Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to another fast. We are 48 hours in to this week's fast. Hey, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. My goal is to empower you. If you're having successes in your other areas of your life, we want you to have that same success here in your health so you can show up for all those things in your lives that are so important. The family, the friends, the community, for all of those dreams that you've had, we want you to be healthy and want you to be around. So thank you for coming through and hanging out with us, whatever platform you're joining us from. We welcome you here to the space. A special shout out to our accelerator members who are out there. And if you are ending your fast right now, right? So you've been fasting with us. You started your fast yesterday. You're ending the fast right here today. We want to give you some props, give you some congratulations, say that we're excited for what you're doing because you're taking charge of your health, you're taking charge of your life, and you are doing what you need to do to be healthy. If you saw a little earlier, we showed a short about diabetes. This is Diabetes Awareness Month, and just want to give a plug for all of you who are now, even now at this moment, deciding that you are going to be different, that your diabetes is not going to run the course like they say it's supposed to, like it's going to. Where you have retinopathy with the eyes and nephropathy kidneys or neuropathy with the feet, you're making a choice, even right now at this moment, that is going to be different from you. For you, it's going to be different for your family. There are 38 million people around the country, over 38 million people around the country who are diabetic right now. And we want to make sure that we minimize, decrease the complications. We want to reverse this devastating disease that is causing so many metabolic issues and causing downstream issues in terms of our chronic health. Okay, so just because you have diabetes, you've been diagnosed with diabetes, does not mean that you have to have all the complications that we talk about in terms of diabetes. You can make a choice, even right now at this moment, so that that can be different. And for those of you who are pre-diabetic, and this number, let me give you the number. It's a big number, y'all. It's over 97 million people in the United States alone. Let me say it again. Over 97 million people in the United States alone who suffer from pre-diabetes. And most of those people don't even know it. And they are on their way. They are on the road to have complications downstream if they don't take charge of their health right now. So as we're celebrating Diabetes Awareness Month, it is, yes, for us to say, okay, what do we do? How do we improve the lives of those who are living with diabetes? But also for us to say, how do we prevent the masses that are out there who are even now heading down the road of diabetes because right now they're pre-diabetic? So we want to make sure that you know that you don't have to continue going down the road. And one of the reasons why we do what we do, and you heard me say at the beginning, I want you to have success in your health just like you're having success in other areas of your life, so that you can show up and be around for all those things that are important. And that's why I do these pop ups. That's why we are doing our shows. We educate, we empower, we encourage. The goal for all of that is so that we can help you to be around for a long and a healthy life. Okay. All right. So, right now, we are, like I said, we are 48 hours to think about it. We're 48 hours into this week's fast. And for those of you who are ending your fast right now, congratulations. I'm so proud of you, so excited that you are taking charge of your health and doing all the things that you've got to do to be successful. Okay? So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do a couple of things. Number one, I want to let you know that as we talk about diabetes, it can seem overwhelming. Okay? So I want you to, first of all, I want you to take a breath. Yeah. In through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Because as you're listening to different people talk about diabetes, it can seem overwhelming. Like, oh my goodness, am I ever going to be able to beat this disease? Or am I just destined to be there because everybody in the family, my mama, my daddy, my grandma, my grandpa, my uncles, cousins, all of them have diabetes? And the answer is no, you are not destined, number one. And yes, you can control diabetes. So take a breath, take a breath. And so we are using fasting as one of the tools to help us with our diabetes. And when we did our pop-up yesterday, and let me go back and let me do that here really quickly. When we did our pop-up yesterday, I showed this graph, or showed this this graphic, and these are the three pillars of reversing diabetes and improving our metabolic health. And these are the three. Those are the places where we want to focus so that you have some practical, ready-made, simple things that you can work with. You don't need superhuman strength. No, you don't. You don't have to be Superman. You don't have to be Wonder Woman. What you need is a strategy you can trust, a plan you can follow, and the support and determination to show up. Because there are going to be days, y'all, and you guys have seen and heard me over the last couple of weeks. There are going to be days when life is going to be lifing, as we say. It's going to happen, and we don't want you to find yourself where you are not that you're not staying the course. Okay, that's number one. So we're not just fasting. We're not just fasting right now. We are forming rhythms, and we're building consistency. And pause right there because I want you to hear that. You're gonna hear, let me come a little closer. We're not just fasting. We're forming rhythms and we're building consistency because that's what's needed. You know that there are times when you've actually done well. There are weeks and months where you're like, man, I'm taking charge of this thing right here and I'm gonna beat this. I'm going to do everything I possibly can do. And you start down the road and something down the road happens. And it's not that you failed. It's not that there's something wrong with you. It's not that you're broken. It's just that we didn't have the right tools. We didn't have the right strategy, the right planning. We didn't have the right consistency to keep that going. And that's what we're talking about here right now. So fasting is not just a metabolic issue, but fasting helps us to build the consistency that we need. Because every time we fast, every time we go through this process, every week when you show up, what we're doing is we're laying another piece in the foundation of consistency. We're adding another brick, another piece to the puzzle. And every time you do it, your body says, okay, this is how we roll now. This is what we do. This is how we behave. This is who we are. Because you're training it to trust itself again. When your body understands and knows what you're doing, then your cortisol level goes down and it improves your ability to stick to it. And when you do something, when you're successful, by the way, let me say that. When you're successful at a fast, right? You say you're going to do a 24-hour fast. You say you're going to do a 36, even you say you're going to do a 16 and 8. When you complete that at the end, you get a dopamine burst because the body loves to be correct. The brain likes to be right. And when you fulfill what you say you're going to do, you get a dopamine burst. That's just as good. I was going to say just as good as a cookie, but I'm not going to say cookie. Right? So you get that burst that's going on there. Okay. So we want to make sure that you understand that it doesn't have to be as arduous as it make it seem, right? Fasting is simply a tool that we're using to right our metabolism. Okay. So I want you to type in, I want you to do this for me. I want you to type one word, right? One word in the chat right now that describes how your body feels right now wherever you are, right? So you may be fasting with us, or you may not be fasting with us. You may be right now struggling with high blood sugars. You may be struggling with something else. I want you to put in the chat right now what word describes how you're feeling right now. Okay? And I'm feeling settled. I'm feeling settled. I'm feeling I told you put one, I'm gonna put two, maybe two or three. I'm feeling settled. I'm feeling hopeful, and I'm feeling joyous. Settled, hopeful, joyous. Settled because there were a lot of things that were going on over the last several weeks for me. And even though those things aren't resolved, right, I have come to a place after having a conversation with my son. I've come to a place where I understand that there are things that I can't change, but I'm settled. I'm okay. Right? We're working through it. Okay? I'm hopeful because I know that even now I'm doing things that are good for my body. I may not be able to change what happened in the past. I may not be able to change some of the current situations, but I can make choices for the future. Right? Settled, hopeful, and joyous. Because I realize that I may not be happy about something at one time, but that does not change the entire world. Come on now. Right? It doesn't change everything. There are still places, still things that I can be joyous about or joyful about. So I'm settled, I'm hopeful, and I am joyful. Joyful, I guess. Let me say it that way. Okay. So right now at 48 hours, this is the point. This is the point where the body quiets, but the mind sometimes will jump in and make us think about different things. Right? Just today, right? And I'm doing this right after lunch, right? So my team just came back from lunch, but before they went to lunch, they were in there, they were warming their stuff up. I can smell it. I can hear the sounds of them going in the microwave and getting their food out, and I see them walk by as they go to the break room. All of that, right? My brain is latching onto that and say, "Hey, look at that. You're missing out," right? FOMO, fear of missing out. Look at that. You're not included. Look at that. Oh, you could be eating right now. So even as we go through the process, the brain will see those cues. And that doesn't mean you're hungry, by the way. But those cues are still there, and they still can stimulate us, right? So we want to make sure that we understand. And let me go ahead and pop this other graphic up here. Right? So the things that trigger us, the things that push us, the things that push our buttons, and here it is, right? This is given by our heat model. These are the triggers that pull us off, that push us away, that can interrupt, for instance, our fast or our decision to eat in a healthy way. Habits, those things that we do just because that's what we do. We eat because it's time to eat. We eat because it's lunchtime. We eat when we go to the movies just because that's what we do. We're not hungry. We may have just had food, but we're eating right now. Okay? Emotions. Emotions. So when you're too happy, well, too angry, too hungry, you're frustrated, all those emotions, when those emotions get high, they will show up and they will push through decisions that you've made about what you're going to eat. Access, just having things around, right? There are certain things I can't keep in my environment because I know if it's there, even though I've said I'm not going to eat it, if it's there, guess what? I'm going to eat it. Right? Habits, emotions, access, and then taste. And taste is a very interesting one because taste can encompass all the others, right? So I remember what that thing tasted like. Well, Aunt Sue's pie, and Mama makes that dressing, and we used to have this stuff when we were growing up. I remember what it's like. I remember how I felt when I ate that thing with that person, right? I remember all of that. It's a memory. And then on top of that, when we make food, when the producers, the manufacturers make food, they don't make food so that you just have it once, right? What's the goal? Their business is to get repeat customers. So they want that food to taste as good as possible. The perfect combination of sugar, salt, and fat called the bliss point. So that when you eat it, you're like, I can't just have one of these. I'm gonna go back and get some more and some more. And not just that, but I'm gonna tell other people about this. That's the goal. And so wrapped up in all of those are those things that will push our buttons and sometimes pull us off course if we are not careful. And so as we're fasting helps us to understand not just the physiology of what goes on in our body, but also understand how our mentation will be affected as well. And one of the things that you saw me do last night on our show was I did a check-in, how I'm doing physically, mentally, and emotionally. We'll do that again tonight. And the reason for doing that is that it's not just not eating. So fasting is not just not eating. There is a social, mental, physical, emotional component all wrapped up in what we do here. Because remember, when you're fasting, most of us have been using food as a buffer, using food to make us feel good, using food for right. So we're in pain, so we eat. We're bored, so we eat. We're frustrated, so we eat. Right? We're lonely, so we eat. But when you're fasting, not only are you not getting food in or bringing food in, but you now have to deal with all of those emotions, and you have to deal with them on their own. You're dealing with them in the raw, as it were. Right? It's just that was a word I used recently when I texted some folks. I said, "Hey, I'm showing up in the raw," meaning I'm showing up right now, just as I am, with all the thoughts, with all the emotions. In this situation right here, I'm showing up in the raw, and I'm showing up for life. Okay? All right. So you got your one word. You got your one word. We understand now that fasting has a lot of effects, not just on food and physiology, but also has an effect on our mind, also has an effect on our emotions. And we'll do our check-in, like I said, later on this evening. If you're calmer, right? You put a word in. If you're calmer or less hungry than before, and that's what we expect as we go through fasting, right? Because we talked about the transition, the handoff last night. Tonight, we're going to be talking about adaptation. So make sure you come back and watch us on that show. We're going to talk about what goes on at this point. We're 48 hours in. And at 48 hours in, it's no longer a matter of, hey, the food that I'm using or the food that I just ate is still working in my body. My body is switched. It's like, hey, I've used that stuff up. Now I'm going to start burning some of this stuff right here. And that gets me excited because there's all other kinds of things that are going on. And we'll talk about several of those tonight as we get into our show. Okay? All right. So predictability feels like peace to your metabolism. So every week we're in this space. Every week we fast. Every week we go through the process. Every week we are setting up rhythms and consistency, and our body loves that. So let me read that again. Predictability feels like peace to your metabolism because it loves it. Metabolism say, "Hey, I this is what we do, so I can become flexible, metabolically flexible." When your body's able to make that transition between burning carbs and burning fat, that's called metabolic flexibility. That is an amazing space. Because all of a sudden, right, people talk to me about, hey, why can't I get rid of this stuff right here? Or why is it that my weight's not going down? Well, a lot of it has to do with the fact that we never give the body the peace, the calm of not putting things in on a constant basis. Last night we talked about that 30 to 36 hour period, right? So the body takes about 24 to 36 hours to get rid of the food that you ate this morning. So you just finished eating. That food is not gone in 12 hours, but what we do, we go back and we put more food in. So it never gets a chance to settle and to say, okay, I'm not getting any energy from over there. Where can I go get energy from now? Let me go burn some of that fat that I've got stored up. That doesn't happen because as soon as the body kind of depletes some of the energy that you just put in, we go back and we start eating again. And those ketones that we have, the ketones that come from fasting, right? Those ketones are amazing in terms of our mentation. We talked about beta hydroxybutyrate. We talked about BDNF, or brain-derived natriuretic factor. The fact that ketones help to send a signal to our brain that we're satiated, that we're not hungry anymore. Right? So ketones, not just do they help to, not only are they an indicator that we're burning fat and we're losing weight, we're losing all those calories that are stored up, but it also helps us in the process. So the ketones themselves help us to continue fasting. Okay? All right. So right over to my side here, I've got this is our I got two things. One, well, let's do this first. This is my fat model. And this is 5 pounds of fat. 5 pounds of fat. And people will come in and they'll say, hey, I'm not losing any weight. And I say, how much weight did you lose? And they'll say, oh, I just lost 2 to 3 pounds. Well, 2 to 3 pounds is about half of this, right? This is 5 pounds. So as you're losing weight, I want you to be encouraged. You may not see that scale drop as dramatically as you thought it was, but every pound that you lose is a pound in the direction of improving your health. And when you're fasting, come back tomorrow, tonight for our check-in, and tomorrow as we do a complete review of fasting, we'll talk about the ketones and how the body goes into those fat cells and pulls them out. That's what we want. When we see ketones with low blood sugars, I get excited. Why? Because I know those ketones have to come from here. And when it comes from here, guess what? Y'all, I'm looking to go down a couple pant sizes. Okay. All right. And then the next thing that I have is, and you guys will recognize this because this is our little mascot, right? This is our plant. And so it's still doing well. Still doing well there. And our team here has been taking care of it, watering it. Because as I told you, I'm not very good at that. So why is that important? Because just like we have to take care of this plant, we've got to take care of a couple of things. The most valuable thing and your health. Are you managing your time well? And are you doing everything you can to make sure that